Bang! Neeves Knives. I'm Jared, and we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Live on Neeves Knives. How's everybody doing? We do have a full episode here. I have a bunch of things written down. Some of the topics we're going to talk about. I got some notes written down between S35 and M390, some differences in edge retention, and also I threw in a little XHP we're going to talk about as well. We're also going to talk about some knife sharpening. I did sharpen up a couple knives. We're going to talk about that just a little bit. And then we're going to go through some knives that I kind of wanted to talk about briefly, including zero tolerance. Somebody left me a comment on Instagram asking, like what's going on with them. And so I think we're going to talk a little bit about that and among a bunch of other things. We will have a story for story time. So, like I said, it's going to be a full episode. What's everybody carrying? Let's start off there while we are waiting for people to come in. I do appreciate everybody joining. So thank you for that. We are also going to talk about some Hermans because you've seen the thumbnail. We got a Herman on the thumbnail. Also, I can't show you guys. I mean, I can, but I got something in that's fucking special, man. Like it is really, really, really good. I almost just want to show you guys. Maybe at the end. Whoever lasts to the end, maybe we'll show it. But I it's funny because I actually have a knife design that's very similar to it, and I have an actual it's not my design, it's somebody else's. But the OEM, whoever did it, knocked it out of the park. I'm talking about ridiculous hollow grind. It's amazing. We're gonna check it. Maybe we'll check it out at the end. Otherwise, I'm gonna post a video about it in the next day or two. Pablo says, "Do you know if the thumb studs on the Wii Praxis can be swapped? I think it'll look even better with a pop of color." Man, you know what? They can always be swapped. I don't think they're removable though without a couple of ice grips or whatever. They're not going to be like a Torx bit. I don't think. I'm trying to remember, but I don't think so. I think you do need I don't know if the press fit or how they're in there, but you can always get them removed. I usually prefer to change out studs when I can just unscrew them. Uh, Chris Reeves knives, they can be a bitch because they're press fit, and you have to get a vise with like a torque bit or something that can poke into that little hole and close the vise so that it slowly presses it out. Got my Yojimbo and had to sharpen it a little bit on a 600 grit diamond stone. That will happen. Just got a Ganzo because you said they were good. Love it. That's hilarious because that is something we're actually going to talk about here. Actually, let's talk about it now. Man, every time, like I have this sitting here, I have a lot of knives, right? A ton of knives. This is a $25 knife. It has some of the best action out of my entire knife collection. It's crazy how well tuned they got this detent. The flipper tab is angled just right. So man, you can't fail it. There's no way you could fail this. And you can hear it when it closes, how it sucks the back end. Very smooth on the drop. But you don't expect this snappy of a detent in such a clean break. Like I said, if this was on a Reat, I would be impressed on a Reat. So to have it on a $25 Ganzo, it's like, what the hell's going on? This is, sorry, did I even say the name? The FH21. You can find it in my Neeves Knives store. You can just go in there and just type in Ganzo FH21. It'll pop up. Man. But that's the only place you can find them is the Neeves Knives store or Amazon. I was thinking about doing a video. I haven't put it into work or anything yet, but I'm thinking about doing a video. And I'm thinking about buying all like the best affordable knives from like 8 years ago. like the Rake P801 and knives like that, whatever was the best 7 years ago or something, and verse them against the knives today. Need some advice. Should I go with the Benchmade Freak M4 or the Mini Adamas in MagnaCut? All right, so I'm going to be honest with you. The reason why I'm going to tell you to go with the Freak, and the reason why is I looked at their HRC, and I'm not saying Benchmade's doing the HRC bad. I don't think they're doing it bad, but I read 61 to 62 HRC is what they're doing it at. It doesn't mean it's bad, but ProTech, Hogue, and every other company that's doing it well is running it at 63, 64. How much edge retention will that be? If I had to take just like a shot in the dark, like from my tests, it was about 100 to 120 feet of cardboard difference. So, you know, take that how you want. Now, at 61, 62, it still cuts like 600 feet of cardboard. So I'm not saying that like it's going to have bad edge retention by any means. But when you get it in an optimal range at 63, 64, it gets up in like the 750, 800 range feet of cardboard. Send that to the front lines in Ukraine. They need any help they can get. Is the Ganzo Firebird Adamante any good? Yes. I have it right here, I think. Bang. Yeah, I got a full video on. Check out my video, man. It's really good. Yeah. So what's cool about it is that it has a wave feature. So you can pull it out of your pocket and wave it out, and it works really good. Extremely ergonomic. It obviously is a dagger blade shape. This is more of a self-defense / EDC knife. The action's fantastic. The detent's tuned really nice. Yeah, this is a good one for sure. The clip is a little tight, but it works. I'd go with the 940 Osborne and jade scales and an M4 blade. Carried my Zermeno sharpened to a beautiful slicey mirror by Lacey and the Benchmade Freak. Very cool. I want to send Pete butt cheeks to the front lines along with a bunch of other dims. You're talking about why Pete? Pete from Cedric and Ada Pete? Why? What did he say? Did he say something out of pocket? I got all the Spideys I want except a shaman and a spot. Well, one of the segments today is a new, I haven't even showed it. I figured I'd show you guys. Fuck it. Where is it? So there's a new Spyderco coming to Blade Ops. So shout out to Blade Ops. They're linked down in the description. I think it's the 26th they'll be dropping there. And that is the Spyderco with the Emerson Wave. In LMAX. It's pretty dope. So the thing with, you can tell I used it a little bit. Can't use it too much because I gotta send it back. But it's I might not send this one back though, to be honest. It's thick. It's not slicey like a PM2. It is a PM2 with an Emerson Wave, but it's an Emerson blade. So it's got Emerson geometry, which is robust, but I don't mind that, right? Because there are so many PM2s. Like I could probably reach somewhere and grab a PM2 right now. I bet I could. See that? So there's plenty of PM2s that are nice and slicey, right? This is not that. Now, will it slice? Yeah, it slice just fine. But this is a self-defense knife / EDC knife. You know, it's got the wave feature. It's going to be very, very, pokey with a nice durable tip. I mean, lots of puncture with this thing, and it'll open something up big time. Now, another thing is that you can use it for basic EDC stuff too, because it's obviously still going to cut really good. They put a nice edge angle on it. Beautiful edge too. They did a good job with this edge. It's very, very good. Like, very good. Very impressive with that edge. And you know, they do a good job with their LMAX. So, and if you really want to try some good LMAX, then the Spyderco is the way to go. So yeah, great great job on that one. But like I said though, it's it's going to be a little bit more robust, so you can be tougher on that one actually. And the thing is that a lot of people break their tips on the PM2s because they're so thin, you know, which I like because of precision. but it is just a thing. If you drop it or something like that, it's gonna break. This guy ain't breaking. That guy ain't breaking. I'm a uh, never mind. Fuck it. All right. What do you guys prefer? The Shaman, PM2, or the Manix XL? Manix XL, hands down. Hands down. Next would probably be the PM2, then the Shaman for me. I do love the Shaman though. I really, really love the Shaman. I like the PM2 too. So here's the thing. If the PM2 has like aftermarket scales like that are like the skinny scales or whatever, then it hands down wins in my opinion. The one thing that the Shaman has over the PM2 so much is them ergonomics, man. Those things melt in your hand. Can lower HRC cut paper towels. Takes longer to get sharp or will not get as sharp as higher HRC. So there's a couple things. So yes, it can still cut paper towels, no problem, but there will be a level of how sharp it can get because it's not if it's not an optimal HRC. And the reason why is because in order for your edge, when you have your flat stone, right, you're stretching out the apex, right? You're stretching it out to a very thin edge. Well, if it doesn't have a good amount of hardness, along with some toughness, but mainly hardness, it's not going to be able to get as fine as it wants to. Think about this, like how sharp can you get Play-Doh? Not very sharp, right? But you can get a stick pretty sharp, right? And you can get steel even sharper, right? It's just the hardness difference. So, it shows you like the level of sharpness. So, yes, higher HRC, better HRC, optimal HRC will definitely hands down get sharper. Another thing that the better HRC gets is when you're sharpening, it's not going to go as fast. So, like when it's soft, it goes faster, but it doesn't go as well. So it goes faster, but it almost feels like you're pushing the metal more than just shaving it. Okay. So the harder HRC will be more like it's shaving. And the results is so much better. So a softer HRC, your burr will be finicky. It won't pop off. It'll be hard to remove. It'll take steel with it. Then you'll feel your edge and you'll feel micro tear outs and things like that. With a nice hard HRC, the wire or the burr just snaps right off and it reveals a super clean apex, leading to a much higher level of sharpness and a much more proper edge in general for everything. So yes, it will cut paper towel, but it's going to depend on your sharpening abilities. It would definitely it would definitely have a lot better results if it was harder though. Oh, that's to Aaron. Looking to buy my first affordable titanium frame. Should I get a Tuya or Kunwu? Okay, so you said affordable though. So I wouldn't say either one of those would be affordable, but if you're looking for a Tuya or a Kunwu, I would say it depends on which one you want to go with. I'm gonna have the Padre in really soon. I do have a feeling that it's really, really good. So I'll say this: if you're gonna get it, use my damn link. Um, let's look at them really quick. So Kunwu has some really nice stuff. I really like Tuya. I do really like Tuya. They're limited though. There's only like they only have like three or four models right now that you can get. Let me share the screen with you guys. So what I would do is I would probably lean more towards Kunwu if I was you, and get one of these and use my Blade HQ links for sure. Oh, the Padre's out of stock. Sorry. I was gonna say the Padre, but it's out of stock, so my bad. But any one of these other ones are really good. I have this one, the Zen. It's pretty dope. I've tried these other ones too. I have not tried the Pulsar though. I was supposed to. I have this one though. I do have this model. I think I have this one. This is really good, and it's Vanex 61 to 62 HRC. That's a good one right there. Timascus pivot collar. Um, This one's also in Vanax. I think this is the smaller one. Oh no, 3.6 inches. This is another great one. Fuck yeah. Yeah, Kunwu does a phenomenal job, and they actually do good heat treats too. They actually care about that. So I would probably pressure. Now, if you're gonna get the 2-year Wraith, it's tough. It gets tough if you're gonna choose the Wraith. Or what's that other one? That other little one, but you probably don't want a knife that's small. It's not small, but it's like medium size, um, with the fat carbon inlay. Let me scroll down. Thick blade edges at rear of blades are tough to sharpen on fixed angled systems. So frustrating. And that's another reason why I constantly bitch about plunge grinds, right? Because that's the problem, is that when your edge gets thicker back here, right? Especially if the plunge grind hits right there, it's so much thicker, and then it takes so much longer. So what happens? In order for you to get it, you have to sacrifice like a year's worth of steel off of your edge, literally, because in order to get that thick spot right at the back of the heel and make it look good, you know, to get your edge to go all the way to the back while also creating a smile so it looks good and bad at the same time, in order to get it completely, you have to remove all this steel. And you have to remove quite a bit in a lot of cases. I'm a Spyderco whore. I have 17 of them so far. Just ordered a blacked out Yo Jumbo today. Nice. Yeah, I got the Yo Jimbo and the Yo Jumbo. I got the Jimbo right here with the um original goat titanium contoured micro milled scales. Hell yeah. I love that knife, man. Such a good knife. Yeah, I don't know how many Spydercos I have. I do not know. Okay, so while we're talking about sharpening, I sharpened up this Medford last night for a buddy. Shout out to Metallica. This fucker's a monster, man. All right. Wipe it down. So I put a it's so sticky. I did a because it's S90V, so I did not want to put a very fine grit edge. S90V does best with a medium grit. I would say somewhere between 600 to 1,000 grit. You could even go lower because it does well with a toothy edge too. Damn it, just give me a piece of paper. It does good with a toothy edge too. So between, I'd say 400 to 500 up to 800 to 1,000. Yeah, that fucker's sharp, boy. That's my fault. Whew, like butter. This thing's smooth too. This is one of the smoothest Medfords ever, especially on washers. But let's talk about the sharpening. So, like I said, I put a medium grit edge on there at about 18 degrees. I did have it at 17, but wound up at 18 towards the end, and it looks good, and I'm glad, because the bevel did get quite a bit bigger from the factory edge. The factory bevel was probably 30 degrees, 25, 30 degrees. It was pretty high. So you can imagine it's a fucking Medford at 30, 40 thousandths behind the edge. It's going to take a long time to sharpen that. And you can see, you know, it got a little bit of a smile back here. Not much. It's not horrible. But if I would have went even lower, it would have been way worse. You know what I mean? So not that big of a deal. It's extremely sharp. It should hold an edge really good. You know what the weird thing with this one is, though? It's thicker right here than it is at the tip. The tip's the thinnest part of the edge. I'm sure they did that on purpose to give it a little bit more pokiness, but it makes it to where, you know, obviously the bevel is going to go from bigger to slimmer then, you know. If you hold the exact same angle all the way across. But yeah, it looks beautiful though. Very happy with it. Very sharp. Very bitey too. Like, so Medford Steel, let's talk about that really quick. Medford does a really good job with their heat treatments. So, and I don't know if you guys seen this. So Metallica sent me a thing this guy posted a video. He had bought, I don't know if it was I think it was a couple Medfords, and was pissed because of some issues with it was an uneven grind and the edge wasn't sharp. So he made a video about it, and Greg watched the video on camera, so you could see him watching it with his team that grinds his knives, and then put it all on himself. He did not take it out on the guy at all, did not make it seem like the guy was making anything up. He paused it in certain areas of the video, literally showed the guys like, look, this is the issue, you know, and this would, and he's basically making them work on their skill set on those things to a higher level now with better quality control in order to make sure that doesn't happen again. I do think there was a little bit of animosity after that. I'm not sure exactly how that went. I did see dude did post another video, but I think everything's fine. I think Greg handled that like a champ, like a great businessman, because he did not put it on the user, did not put it on the buyer whatsoever. He put it completely on himself and his team, and then educated his team on how they could be better, which, man, what could you ask for better, you know? Um, I was pleasantly surprised to see it. Which, not saying that I wouldn't think that he would do that, but I was kind of hoping he wasn't gonna, because I hate when I see a person with a channel not call out, because maybe Greg took it as like he was calling him out. I don't think it was that. He's just showing what happened. And maybe the guy was, to some extent, because when you make a video, you could say you're calling the company out. I don't really look at it like that, but you do know in the back of your head they're gonna see it, and they're gonna see it, and they're gonna be pissed, right? You know that. So, you know, when you see a company get pissed and take it out on you for, you know, you do feel a certain type of way, because you're just showing, you're just being honest. You're just trying to show the people what you got, right? And that doesn't mean they're all like that. That usually doesn't mean they're all like that, but it means yours ended up like that. Let me scroll down. Oh, I'm way backed up. I'm way backed up. All right. So if I missed something, Jared, you holding out on us? Where's Elsa? I got the package right here. You guys can see it on camera, can't you? It's right there. We're gonna get to it in 1 second. And the cow says moo with the 2 bones. What do you recommend for a nice thin MagnaCut steel EDC? So something thin that's in MagnaCut. The Hogue Deca is really good. That's not super thin behind the edge, but the whole blade is pretty thin. Other than that, I can't really think of anything that's very thin that has MagnaCut. Not right off the top of my. Oh, I mean, but it's crazy money. I mean, if you want something thin, Herman. Herman's got some outstanding knives. Um, and they do have some MagnaCut. Now they're running it at 62, and I did talk to him about it. Supposedly, they talked to Laren, and because of the geometry that they're using, because this one, like right here, was like 7,000, 8,000 behind the edge. It's very, very thin. So because of the geometry that they do, I guess Laren said they'd probably be better if they ran it, you know, at the HRC they are running it at. So they ran it at the HRC that he recommended for their geometry. Now I'll be honest, I have some that's even higher HRC and even thinner geometry, and it's fine. So I don't know. You know, but shout out to Polish Custom Knives. I do have them linked down in the description. We're going to check out their site here in 1 second. We'll bring that back up. But yeah, I'm trying to think of some really thin MagnaCut knives. I can't really think of any off the top of my head that are like really, really thin. But like I said, the Hogue Deca is really good. My ZDP Endura and M4 Endura are a threat. The K390 Stretch and Andela are nice. And 2 M4 Delicas. Hell yeah. Some great steel there. That's a whole lot of edge retention right there. Okay, so speaking about edge retention. All right, you know what? We're going to go to Alicord real quick. We're going to show her package, and then we are going to get to I have another knife to show off that I sharpened, and I want to talk about some steel tests. Speaking of sharpening, how much do you charge to sharpen knives if you do it for viewers? I did have a sharpening service for a long time. I shut it down because I just couldn't keep up, and with the channel and with that. So I do not have my books open right now. Maybe sometime in the future I'll open them back up. I do allow friends, and family and stuff to send in knives for sharpening, but I don't just leave them open. I would have to charge you entirely way too much, and I don't feel comfortable doing that. And it in many cases, if I have a bunch of knives in, it would take me a long time to get them back to you, and I don't want to do that. So I don't want to do either one of those things to you. Miguel Moyarl, still one of the better value options out there. Yeah, it's a really good one. Just ordered the K390 Warning Endura and Dragonfly on closeout. Nice. Hell yeah, good for you, man. Medford does a great job with their 58. They don't do that no more, though. That's what they did. They do it at 63, 64 now. So they were running it at 58, 59 HRC when they first started it. They did a whole video on it, but they wound up changing it after the community freaked out about it, and they talked to Laren and things like that. So most companies did that, though. Every company that I can think of pretty much did that. All right, so I do have a package here that we're going to get you from Alicord right after Mark P. How do you decide a blade has no more life left on it? I have a few that I lost a ton of steel on when I was total sharpening a rookie. Worst one of my quiet carry waypoints, I have almost no choil left. Okay, so I say keep it going. You can put in a new choil, make it look as new as possible, and just clean it up. You can keep them going for a long time. So old timers like your grandpa, my grandpa, great grandpas, they'd fucking run their knives into the dirt. I'm saying like their knives would have started out as a buck 110, and by the time they were done, this is what it would look like. It would look like that at the end, and it'd be recurving because they didn't have fucking a good choil or plunge grind. So when they sharpened it, the thing would start recurving, even though originally it was like this. Sorry. Horrible drawing, but you guys get what I'm trying to say. All right, I don't want to lose my notes. Oh, damn it. Did I just lose my notes? I did. There it is. All right. But yeah, I'd say just keep it going. The best thing to do is clean up the choils. It'll make it look a little bit better and make you feel better about it. That's the biggest thing. Get a Dremel with a carbide cutting bit. The carbide cutting bit will help you cut in a choil nice and fast in hardened steel. But get that bit. If you don't have that bit, it takes a long time. But if you get a carbide cutting bit for a Dremel, it'll go fast. You can get the other bits too, and that comes in the regular pack. Now, Alicord sent some I don't know. I'm guessing these are pouches for knives. It has like oh, it's for your belt. I get it. It's a belt sheath. Oh yeah. Let's check it out. Okay, so we got a knife here. Drop it in. And then you could buckle it up. Ooh, and that fucker almost fit too. You don't have to buckle it, but you can buckle it right over the top of the knife, and then your belt will go right through. That's pretty dope. Right to your belt. Kara's gonna love this because this is how she carries her knives half the time. She carries a little pouch like this on her belt and literally carries a knife in there all the time. Because she doesn't have pockets a lot of times. I tell her just to put it on the inside, like tuck it, on the belt line. That's what I do when I'm not wearing jeans. But she sent 2 of them. Ooh. So these are pretty dope. Thank you. I appreciate it, Allie. These are pretty badass. And these things are well done, man. Holy cow. This must have took you forever. Yeah, Kara's going to love those. Thank you so much. She sent me a note. I didn't read that yet, though, so this could be a gift to somebody else. Awesome. Thank you so much, Alice. I appreciate it so much. So shout out to Alicord. Now, before we get to this edge that I sharpened, let's get into M390 versus S35EM. Thank you, Todd. Yes, there's Polish Custom Knives. We're gonna actually check them out here in 1 second. They have some badass new knives. Just Nate, been a member for 12 months. Shout out to you. Finally got the orange loyalty badge. That's what I'm talking about. Hell yeah. Good for you. Oh, we have a members live tomorrow, guys. So whoever's a member tomorrow, 12:15 Central Time, we will have a live. So I will see you guys there. Not sure exactly what we're going to do. We'll probably do some knife sharpening. Maybe we'll even give some stuff away. I can do thin blades and Magna Cut. Like I said, I have a fucking super thin blade Magna Cut. I got a one that's like 5-6 thousandths behind the edge. It might be 10 thousandths now because I've sharpened it a bunch, but it's 64.5 HRC. It's damn near 65 HRC, and it's been tested. And it's a deep hollow grind, and it's a broad deep hollow grind. So I think Magna Cut at 65 HRC has the same toughness as M390 at 62. I think that's what it is. Thanks for the info. I completely understand. If you opened it, literally everyone would just send their knives to you for sharpening. Then pure chaos would happen. Yeah, and that's what basically happened. You know, and trust me, it was going good for a while. Like I was loving it. It was an extra income, and I desperately needed it at the time. And it went very well. But then as the channel picked up, you know, and it was becoming more and more successful, it took more time, you know, because the more I work on it, the more I do. And meaning like my videos aren't as easy to do as they used to be. The editing, I do editing now. I didn't used to do that. So there's a lot of things I do now that I never did. So my time, like I put so much time into it that it's difficult for me to do sharpening now. Even if I say I'll take 2 days off a week and only focus on sharpening because I'll make, you know, more money maybe doing that, I could maybe figure that out. But I'd have to really think about it, really schedule it in. And it is something I've thought about doing. But the thing is though, is that my prices were $30 the last time for a regular edge. It was like $40-$50 if it was like a Medford or something. But for regular, you know, Spydercos and just regular knives, it was $30 a pop. I'd probably have to go up from there, you know, to probably like $40 or something. Let me get to these notes. Okay, so maybe we should do a little guessing game. Let's start off with S35. Okay, S35 VN. Okay, so now there's always going to be variations, right? There's always going to be variations. Dan, shout out to Dan Pinella, been a member for 4 months. Good evening, all. Just popped in to say hello. Got to spend some time with the wifey. See you sharpening nerds tomorrow. All right, Dan, I will see you tomorrow. Hey, man, if you still want to maybe do that, we can probably go. We can maybe go live together. That'd be awesome. But we'll talk tomorrow. Let's talk about the S35VN. So S35VN. Obviously, there's going to be some variations, and when you do cut tests, geometry does matter, right? Thinner geometry is going to usually get better results than thick geometry, and also thinner geometry has better edge retention. And it's just because of geometry, right? Something that's thin. I just need a new pen and paper. Something that is thin thick backwards. Thick geometry, thin geometry, right? When this starts wearing off, getting duller, right? Let's say you remove that much steel. Let's do the same thing here. Look at both tips. I removed the same amount. See which one's still sharper? The thinner one. Because as they wear, the wear resistance is going to be basically the same. So as it wears off, this wears off and is thicker behind the apex because it's more blunt. This is super thin behind the apex, so the apex is still going to be super sharp as it wears down. It will have to get to a certain point, which is much farther down or much farther up the apex than here. So the edge will stay sharper longer with thinner geometry. But let's say on average, KIZER's S35VN did about 200 cuts of 10 millimeter twisted sisal rope. So that's KIZER's S35, and that was a few years ago. Now, Cold Steel's did 295 cuts. So about 95 cuts more. Did geometry count there? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe it was just the heat treatment. It could have been a lot of factors. But, you know, between 200 and 300 feet of cardboard is on average what you should see from S35VN. Now, M390. M390 is all over the board. So it can range anywhere. Okay, so let's say WE knives. So WE knives was about 350 cuts. And this was a few years ago. So this is not now. This was a few years ago. I'm sure it's a little bit better now. But at that time, with one of their older models, this was an older model, a long time ago, 350 cuts of 10 millimeter twisted sisal rope. Spyderco's did about 475, so about 125 more, but that was still a little bit on the lower for Spyderco because it has the potential to get up to about 550 to 600. Now, if you put a dual grit edge on there, as Cedric Canada has shown, it can get up to 900 cuts, 900 to 1,000 cuts, like crazy. But that's with a dual grit edge where you polish one side and you have a toothy edge on the other side. Anyways, but on average, you're going to get between 350, say with a softer HRC, up to about 550 at an optimal HRC. So you're thinking, let's say the difference between, you know, Kansepts and reacts, right? There's going to be a big difference. Now, like I said, geometry plays a part. A lot of things play a part. So this is just an average, but you know, that's still that's a lot of cutting. It's still a lot of cutting. This is the Tuckamore, by the way, the Kansept Tuckamore 20 CV. This is one of my favorite models from them. They did a phenomenal job with this. You can find it at Blade HQ, link down in the description, or my Kansept link. Actually, just go to Kansept. Kansept's probably got all the models, and I get a bigger cut from them, anyways. If you guys buy anything, but the Kansept, no, they're kicking ass. This is a great knife. Sheep's foot blade, like I said, 20 CV, super duper smooth. The reverse flick's phenomenal. This is the best reverse flicking knife they've had so far. And the ergonomics are really good, very comfortable back here. The clip works pretty good. Actually, the clip that is a little bit stubborn going over the ramp. It's not bad with what I'm wearing right now, but anyways, dope ass knife, the Tuckamore. I love it. Okay, so XHP steel. What was that? Okay, so remember we said S35VN was between 200 and 300 cuts, right? XHP 370, so about 370. So we'll say between 350 and 400, 350 and 425 or something, you know, depending on who's doing it. Now the XHP that was tested on was Cold Steel's, not Spyderco's. I imagine if that was Spyderco's, it'd probably be more like 420, 425, maybe something like that. Spyderco does such a fucking good job with their XHP, but so does Cold Steel. So, man, it sucks Cold Steel stopped using it, huh? Man, it's bullshit. I wish they would have just kept using it because it actually had better results than their S35VN. So, you know, their S35VN got 295 cuts while the XHP got 370 with the same angle and everything. Yeah, Spyderco still uses it on some models, but yeah, man, it's I'd love to see it come back too, man. Some of the sharpest edges I've ever gotten has been on XHP. XHP is a phenomenal steel. It's crazy because the makeup of it is basically like just like stainless D2, but you know, in practice, it is fucking amazing. Jared picked up that Scandi Pathfinder by Bramovich and love this thing. Good call for a pocket woods crafter. Hell yeah. Very cool. Tactical Center says Taiwan's Spyderco 60 HRC mule did like 650 in rope cutting. The Slish Buoy did about 550-ish. The mule is the best M390 Siege Grenada. Yeah, Spyderco, like, you know, even like he's just saying, you know, Spydercos, you can usually expect about the best that you're going to get. So 650, that's even higher than average. So, but like I said, you know, Spydercos is, you know, is going to be around the best. You know, I'm not saying you're not going to find better anywhere, but as far as mass production goes, they kick ass. They really do. Some of the best steels I've ever sharpened have always been on Spydercos. You know, you can really feel it. You can actually feel it on the stone and just the way your edges come out, the way it deburrs, even the way it maintenances, the way when you're stropping it in between sharpenings, even that does even better when the HRC or the steel is better. It's amazing how much more, like, you would think softer would be more responsive to stropping, and that is the case with some steels. But as far as the same steel, you want it the higher HRC, man. It even strops back better. What steel have you gotten the sharpest? K390, CTS XHP, 14C28N, Nitro V, and Crewwear. Those have been my sharpest edges ever. And 4V too. Yeah, 4V. Fuck 4V, man. And Magna Cut. Shit, man. So there's a lot of steels, but I would say if I had to guess which one was the best, I would say Crewwear, K390, and the CTS XHP, and then probably 14C and Nitro V, and then the 4V. But in Magna Cut, fucking, I keep leaving that out. Magna Cut does really good if it's a good HRC. Like right now, I got a damn screaming edge on some Magna Cut. Magna Cut can rust alicord. No steel is completely rust proof. That saying XHP is pretty stainless. Mr. Ed says XHP is in high demand for tools. Carpenter charges more for more, so cold steel moved on from it. Yeah, I know. I heard another reason was that because the other companies were buying it up, that one, they were charging more, but two, they didn't have as much to source, so they weren't able to source large amounts of it, and they could only get small amounts. And that's why like Spyderco's still able to do it, because they only have a couple models with it, so they don't have to source a shit ton of it. Oh, it's no longer produced? Is that true? You're just making shit up. Now, is that true? Zero tolerance. What the hell? We're going to come back to sharpening, so don't worry. We're going to come back to sharpening. I still have a knife I want to show. And that is 20 CV. Just make sure we ain't got no ding-dings. All right, guys. So, what the hell has happened to zero tolerance? I'm worried about them, guys. I'm worried about them. I don't know if they're falling off or I'll get to your comment in 1 second. I don't know if they're just, because think about it. What have they done in the past 2 years? They did this guy, this fixed blade. They did that. It's dope. I love it. I wish I could have one. It's really badass. 3V steel, super tough. Looks like a badass knife. I love it. They have knives for, and when you think about it, really good prices. when you really think about it, so like, let's look at this, the 308. This is a badass knife. It's big and it is badass. $350. That's a fucking React. $350, and it's a titanium frame lock. Here, let me. It's got a titanium frame lock with a steel lock bar insert and 20 CV steel. Yes, the 20 CV is soft, but it's still 20 CV and G10, and that's $350 for USA made. That's badass. Granted, yes, the steel's a little bit on the softer side. Some of the worst S35 VN I've ever seen was on this guy right here. The worst S35 I've ever seen was on the zero tolerance 0450. It was an older batch, and yeah, it was so bad. But yeah, I'm just curious, man, what is going on with them? But yeah, these prices are pretty damn good. If you guys want to get any ZTs, they're linked down in the description under Blade HQ or GP Knives or Smoky Mountain Knife Works. But yeah, man, this is a dope one. I really like this model. Again, titanium, and what is it? $320. $320 USA made, full titanium, and was it 20 CV? 20 CV. That's a great price. So, so what's going on with them? They're able to have good prices because they mass produce knives, but they're not. They're not. So, are they just? Do they not have a design? So here's my theory. I'm just going to give you guys my theory, and I don't know if this is true or not. I think a couple of years ago they hired a new knife designer, and his designs were a little crazy, and they still have them. I can show you guys them right now. I personally don't like them, but one of them's right here. This guy. So I personally don't like it. $264. This is not titanium. This is steel. So I didn't understand the price. How do you get this high of a price? And the back spring, this thing right here, it is not titanium. That is steel. This little shield right here might be titanium. I don't know, but this whole part, the whole inside is all steel. So I don't know how they got the price, but it just didn't speak to people. People didn't like it. And I don't think they sold very many of them. I don't know, but I have a feeling that what happened is it didn't work out for that designer. And I don't know if since that guy, they just don't have another designer right now. And, they're just like, we'll just continue making what we have and just continue selling what we have. Or if maybe they have something in the works right now and they're about to surprise the hell out of us in 2024. Because it's not going to be the end of 2023. They would have revealed that by now. Let me go back to this comment I said I would read. Tactical Center says that was only 60 HRC. Spider Co's USA does up to excuse me, guys. 62 HRC 62 does about 400 feet in cardboard, and 60 HRC secondary hardening React, you do about 400 feet of cardboard. That would be like 1,200 cuts of rope. I went to put my pyrite in the pocket today. My effing pocket clip just decided to fall off of my knife. Luckily, I wasn't at work when it happened. Yeah, you got to check those screws. I've had that happen many times as well. I've even had knives. I've lost like screws so many times. I've been very blessed and had some just fall out right in my hand. I'm like, oh, thank God I caught it. But yeah, you got to check those screws, man. Always check your hardware. Check your hardware, and then also add thread locker. That's a huge thing. Blue medium hold thread locker. Jared, what do you think about Wii's 20 CV? So I don't think it's horrible. I think they run it a little bit on the softer side. So it depends on which version you get. Okay. So their coated versions are ran a little bit softer. For some reason, I heard for them to bake on the coating, it lowers the HRC. It starts off with a higher HRC, and then through the process of baking on that coating, it lowers it like an HRC. So it's like 59 or something like that. But their non-coated blades are up to 60 to 61. So 6061 is not bad. It's not horrible. Like, it's not as bad as like Benchmades or zero tolerances or anything like that, but it's still not optimal. So I would say that, you know, you're gonna get it into probably around the 350 to 400 feet of cardboard, right around there. And you know, if they bumped it up to 62, then we would see 475 to 550. So that's how big of a difference it is. I seen this thing. Somebody was saying that, oh, the difference between 60 HRC and 62 HRC M390, it was only like 50 feet of cardboard or something, 50 feet or something like that. That's what they said, which is all bullshit. Um, it depends on the knife, depends on the geometry, depends on a lot of things. But say take the same two equal knives, and one has a really good heat treatment at 62 and the other one has a decent heat treatment at 60, you're going to probably get about 100 feet of difference, if not more. And the reason why is every HRC you go up dramatically raises, right? So like if we drew like a small graph really quick and we were going to say 57 to 58 to 59, 60. Okay, so this would be 57. All right. Oh, 58, not that much of a difference. 59, ooh, it jumped double. 60, tripled, right? And now when you go, it's going to go up even higher. So that's kind of the way HRC goes. The higher it gets, the more dramatic it goes, to my understanding. Have you tested any of the 3Vs on the 80/20.5? I've been using mine for a bit now, and it seemed to hold a great edge for a good long time. So I did not do any controlled tests on them. I did with the OS 10, but that wasn't the 3V. The 3V, I've gotten them in for sharpening and things like that, and I've sharpened them up, but I've never tested any. Um, I would say they're probably doing a pretty decent job. It's Taiwan, and they usually do. Now, the first batch of OS 10 was not good. The one that I had that I tested was horrible, but you know, I think that was still an exception, and I think the exception was they were trying to get them all pushed out for Blade Show, because that's where mine came from. And I think that they were in the rush to get them to Blade Show so bad that they were pushing the heat treatments too fast, and it just fucked it up. And I wasn't the only one. I had multiple in around with this from the same batch that they were all bad. So but the 3V though, it's probably pretty decent. ZTs are known for poor lock geometry fails easily. That's true. Neuro Knives did a whole lot of videos to show that. Yes, sir. Plus, the M390 and 20CV was no better than S35. They just couldn't do good designs. Yep, that's all true. Yes, it is. So, what he's talking about is this was a few years ago. Neuro Knives, he doesn't make videos anymore, but he had a bunch of them, and he was literally just, I mean, like a soft spine work, like not nothing crazy. Like you would be surprised how soft he had it, like probably softer than I'm hitting this thing right now. And it failed. And so he was like, wow, you know, and he tried another one. The same thing happened. Then he had another one and it didn't happen. Then another one it did. And then there was a couple other people that tested theirs, and a few people said that theirs were failing. Then a bunch of other people were saying they weren't. So you know, was it just those? Maybe, but the chances of that happening to multiples and it not being widespread is pretty unlikely. Most likely, like probably half of them were that way or something. I did hear that they fixed that. So I don't think that's still an issue now. Because to my understanding, you know, like back in, you know, before they were trying to do good block face geometry. I just think that what happened was they went from doing hard use knives with good lock face geometry and got spoiled because people were buying their knives. They were starting to mass produce them. Now they're making all kinds of designs and they're pumping them out like crazy. And then they stopped caring as much. And then we start seeing the results of that. Hopefully they don't, you know. I haven't, man, that's the thing. I haven't even had a ZT in like a couple years. It's crazy. It's just that you don't even hear their name anymore. They need to do something. Otherwise, they're going to be left behind. My only ZT knife was the 0470. Sold it quickly because the detent is so light. It's disappointing. It's driving an electric vehicle. Yeah, the confusing, man, I've had some ZTs that had phenomenal action though. Like ZT used to be known for their action. There used to be a saying, it's no ZT action, right? So, like, say if you got a knife, you'd be like, oh, this thing has a great detent. This thing has great action. You're like, it's not ZT action, but it's still really good. So that was the saying because ZT did have really good action, but there, there's always going to be exceptions. But they did have a lot of knives with great detents. Even Kershaw's, the non-assisted Kershaw's have phenomenal detents. Usually. Jared, what do you think about Hinder's XM18 3.5 S30 S45 VN steel? So I've only really tested one, so I don't want to speak on it like the entirety. But as far as that particular one, it did fine. It did okay. It didn't do bad. It was good. Like it. If I had to like compare it to S35 VM, I would say it was like 10% better, so it wasn't like it was, something like extravagant or anything, but it was good. It did feel better on the stone. It sharpened up. I'll say this, the grit difference was very different. The S35 VN doesn't usually like a high polish or a very, very fine edge. And if you do get one on there, it's usually with a very low angle, and it doesn't last. It wears off very quick and gets slick. With S45, it took a far better polished edge than S35 VN. So there was quite a bit of differences between them. But as far as like I all their S45, I don't know. I haven't tested it to really know. I'll say that they do have they're known for doing some soft steels on some of their shit because they want such high toughness, I guess. I don't fucking know why they would do that, but because it doesn't make sense. Even from a toughness perspective, it doesn't make sense because it's a pocket knife, right? Even if you're gonna say, okay, it's a hard use pocket knife. So then use a hard use steel, right? Don't run a super steel soft in order to make it tougher. You do that with geometry, which they already knocked out of the park, right? Hinder's geometry is thick as shit. So they already have the geometry there for toughness. So now harden it nice and hard so that it has great edge retention. Because a lot of the Hinders that I test, they don't have good edge retention. They really don't. And it's not just the heat treat, it's also the geometry. The geometry's thick. So unless if you're going to put a 13-degree edge on it or something, it's not going to last very long. Now they're tough knives. They're awesome knives. I love Hinders. I really do. I absolutely love Hinder. But I can't lie about their edge retention. It is what it is. Awesome, bud. Thank you, Bones. I appreciate you jumping in. I got a package going out to you Monday. How can you test HRC? You send it in to get HRC test. You got to know somebody that knows somebody. There's people in the knife community that have the testers. Now some companies will, because like, if you do at-home tests, they'll complain that, well, it needs to be a certified tester and blah, 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 which is true because they do have to be up to date and stuff. But all the people that I know that test that, all theirs are up to date and are good. So, but yeah, you just got to send it in, and it pokes the steel and it tests the hardness. There is a cheap way to do it though. You can get an HRC like testing kit. It's not accurate, but what it does is send you a bunch of files, and then you have to scratch the surface of the metal, and if it scratches it, then it's that HRC. If it won't scratch it, then it's higher. So then you have to grab the other one, and if it doesn't scratch, you grab the other one until it starts scratching. When it starts scratching, then you're at that HRC because they just give you a bunch of files that are hardened to different HRCs. It's not accurate, but you can get an idea. Do Do they really got Jared playing on the TVs at Smoky Mountain Knife Works? We got a fucking celebrity over here. No, they don't. You're lying. You're lying. Where'd you see that at? I don't believe you. Show me that. I want you to show me that. Boss with the desktop hardness tester, or take it to him. Oh, you're answering that question. Yeah. There's some people in the knife community that do it. Hinder's only good steels S45 in my experience. They're too soft on the 20 CV and Magnum cut. I agree. I agree. And that's why I didn't want to say anything bad about their S45 VM, because the one that I did was decent. It was okay. There was nothing wrong with it. But I can't speak on it, on a mass way, because I only tested the one. And that's the thing, man, because I fucked up in the past, because like I tested, something, and it was only like one time. And then I painted it with the entire brush of that one, and it backfired on me, so it's good to get a good amount of testing done, and across the board, so that you can really get a good average, rather than say just testing 1, 2, or 3, and then you guys know what I mean. Because there is differences, and you could have a lemon, like kind of like this, the S35 VN from Zero Tolerance. I'm talking about, it was so bad the thing wouldn't even get sharp. It was like, oh my god, bad. The steel felt like you were sharpening Play-Doh, literally, like you were pushing it. And I didn't understand. Like, I was like, what is going on with this stuff? Every time I would get an apex, it would just crumble, like it'd just be gone. Then it took, like, I don't know, it was so much steel. It was probably like let's say the blade was that high. I removed about that much steel until like it started getting into like a little bit harder steel, and it was still bad. So, but if I painted their S35 with that brush, I would say that their shit is absolute dog shit garbage, which is not true. That was just an early model, which they were doing softer stuff and bad stuff then, but they had dealt with it since the time when I got that. I didn't know, and when I got it, I didn't know. So I bought it not knowing that, oh, make sure you're getting a brand new model that's directly from their factory now, because you don't want the old stuff, and I got the old stuff. Um What's the point that's a good price, because they're around 300 bucks normally? Be careful though, that's a highly counterfeited knife. I'm not sure what that one's about. Um, Technical Center says ZT's LMAX is runs better than their other steels. They can run it low and burn the edges also, but if I had the choice, I'd choose it over their options. Yeah, that's another thing too, is that with and this is popular with certain steels and all steels. So there's going to be specific steels that this happens worse to, and then also all steels that are susceptible to burnt edges. If basically what's happening is they sharpen on a belt, right? The belt is going so fast. When they're sharpening on a belt, if that belt heats up the edge higher than what the temperature was that the steel was baked at, if it gets higher than that, then it will burn the edge. Now, that doesn't mean the whole blade is fucked. It just means it needs to be sharpened a couple of times, 2, 3, maybe even 4 times, to get into good steel. So it's not like the thing's shot, and that happens with a lot of knives. Probably 30% of knives have burnt edges on them, if not more. Now, certain steels are going to be more susceptible to that, like M390, 20 CV. That's why you almost never base the steel off of the edge, off of the factory edge. Always sharpen it once or twice, maybe even 3 times, and then get an idea. Because by 2 or 3 sharpenings, you should be into good steel. Thank you, Bluetooth. Appreciate you, brother. All right, so what else do we got on the list? Oh, shout out to my knife journal. I should have linked it down in the description. I know I keep talking about it, but I think it's just so awesome, and I know a lot of you guys are going to want it. you guys probably already see me talk about it, but basically it has a list so you can number all your knives. So you know exactly how many knives you have, and so on and so on. And then all your sharpening tests, your steel tests, what type of edge you put on it, what angle, this and that. So basically is a knife sharpener's journal. It's pretty badass, and it's all set up. They're only like 15 bucks. So there's different prices. The hard copy is like 22, and then the paper copy, the hard case and then the paper case is like 15 bucks. So not a bad price. I will grab it for you guys and put it in the description just in case if you guys do want to get one. They are pretty dope, and I have such a huge collection that I will definitely fill that bitch up. So here, it's linked down in the description right now. I'm going to drop it down there for you guys. I talk about it in a few videos just so that everybody gets a chance to see because I think it's a smart thing to have, especially if you have a decent sized collection. So let's talk about this other edge, and then we're going to talk about some Hermans. So I sharpened up some Sharp by Designs 20 CV to a semi-mirror polish. So it's not an absolute mirror, it's a semi-mirror. So it's nice and shiny. Now this was on CBN stones. So I'm still a beginner with CBNs. Man, that fucker's sharp though. Holy cow. My skin's on it. Hang on. Not sure how good it's gonna come over the camera, but anyways, it's pretty good. I didn't do a low angle though. And the reason why, there's a couple reasons. One, it was its first edge, and the guy who owns this already chipped the edge. Now, granted, it could have been a burnt edge, could have been his fault. I don't know, but I didn't want to lower back the angle too much. So I kept it at 20 degrees. Now, another thing is that I did not want this a coated blade. I didn't want to hit back here in the plunge area, lowering it really low. So I just kept it at a decent angle. It's screaming sharp. So I'm not mad at it at all at that angle. I think that angle is just fine because it is a damn screamer. That was my fault. Yeah. But yeah, these Sharp by Designs, man, these things are so dope. But yes, it felt very good on the stone. No problem deburring. Deburr came off really well. Everything went well. It felt nice and hard on the stone. I started off with like 100 grit diamond plate. Then I went to 400 and 200, 240, then 400. Then I went to 600, 800, and then I started using the CBNs, and I went from CBN, whatever their 80 is, all the way up to their 5,000, which I learned that with the CBN stones, you want to start it on a higher grit. So next time I'm going to make sure I won't start using the CBNs until I'm over like 1200 grit. CPM D2 is way better than D2. What hardness is Protect doing it to? You'd want it around 62, 64. So with CPM D2, it's 7% edge retention difference is what you're going to get, but the toughness goes way up. So the toughness is a lot better with CPM D2. Obviously, it's powder form. Anytime you do a powdered form steel of whatever steel, it's going to be tougher because it's going to be finer grain. The structure of the steel is going to be finer and tighter. But the edge retention in a lot of cases goes up too. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it does. With CPM D2, from what I've seen, it's about 7% difference. So it's not that much difference, but the toughness does. Just like with CPM 154 and 154 CM, the toughness goes way up. The edge retention doesn't change too much, but yeah. Sharpening is very different though. Yeah, very, very different. Is HCR a good budget steel, especially at $30? I would say no. I would say no, not at that price. I would say you want to get HCR between $15 and $22. Um, the reason why I'm saying that is because between $20 and $30, you can get D2. You can damn near get 14C in some small cases. But you can definitely get D2 all day. So then D2 is going to outcut HCR. Now let's say it's shit D2. If it's absolute shit D2, it's going to be about 1-to-1 with HCR. So, I'm not saying HCR is bad. It's like an OS8. So it's OS8. That's what it is. So it's going to be a little bit less than 440C. So think about that. 440C is a little bit higher than HCR. 440C you could say is like equal to like 9CR. So, but it's still a decent steel. It's not good if you spend money on it. You don't want to spend a bunch of money. You want to get it cheap. It's a cheap steel. It doesn't hold an edge very long. Holds it like if you were going to say an edge retention test, it'll probably get like, I don't know, 100 feet of cardboard, something like that, maybe 120, right around there. But it's very easy to sharpen. It does strap back fairly well. It's pretty stainless, decent toughness. So, it has some good qualities to it. It's not a performance steel. It's a budget steel. It'll take an edge, it'll hold an edge, but it's not going to be a performer. Do you adjust starting or finishing grits for lower HRC? Do you adjust starting? Yes. Only finishing. I start out both of them the same, but I finish different if it's softer. If it's softer, I don't go as high. So like let's just say 20 CV, right? If it's a softer 20 CV, and it's also not just about that. It's also about the quality of the heat treatment too. Because like there's a ton of Wee knives that I put mirror polished edges on their 20 CV, and it's fucking ridiculously sharp, like insanely sharp. Even though theirs would technically be a little bit on the softer side. But then there's other stuff that just won't, like, you don't even want to put a mirror polish on it. Like say like some of there's so many different steels. I don't even want, or so many different companies, but when you run it at too high of an HRC, it gets slick. And then like let's say it doesn't get slick and it's really good right off the stone. Once you start using it, it'll get slick. So you don't usually want to run a soft steel to a high grit. You want to run it towards a medium grit. That way it'll keep and hold the bite longer over time through use. Major Pow with the 5 bones. Thank you, brother. Speaking of sharpening, I finally graduated from film sharpener to precision adjust. I love it. Good for you. Good for you. Yeah, we got some sharpening. We're doing some testing on some sharpeners right now. TRM 20CV is absolutely 100% amazing. Yes, the feedback and acuteness coming off stone is amazing. Yeah, they do a really good job. TRM does a good job with it. In the beginning, they were doing okay. I seen some tests where some tests were bad, some tests were great. But as of now, though, as of the past year or two, they've done all really good shit. So hats off to them. They're doing a phenomenal job. TRM all the way around is doing a phenomenal job. I'm really happy with what they're doing. Is Japanese ATS 34 very good? I don't know. I don't know it well enough. I can't really speak on it. I wouldn't lie to you. I just don't know. I don't really know this. I don't even know if I know I've had it, but I don't know how much I've had. Like, and I can't even think of a knife that has that steel on it right off the top of my head that I have. So you said $30 for sharpening. That's actually pretty cheap. Here in Texas, fools will charge you 3 to 4 times that for not very good job. So I was charging $30 before, $30 then plus shipping and handling. So it'd be like $45 in the end because you'd have to mail it and stuff like that. But like depending on the finish, depending on the thickness and everything. Like if I do like a super thick knife in Magna Cut, right? It's obviously going to cost more than something that's super thin in HCR, right? One's going to take 10 minutes, the other one's going to take me 5 hours. So, like this one, this Medford took me about 2 hours. This fucker took me about 2 hours to sharpen. So, I was taking my time, but still, it still took me about 2 hours. ATS 34 is 154 CM. RWL, yes. RWL 34 is CPM 154. Yes, it is. Yes. I am going to, and also, 150. Oh, yeah, never mind. You did say that. I'm going to sleep. What a hammer. What do I got here? I wanted to show you guys something else. Oh yeah, the Hermans. The Hermans. Let's check out. Oh man, this thing is so crispy. I freaking love this thing. Let me pull this thing up. Ooh, man, you hear that shit? I'm gonna turn this up just so you guys can hear it. Just the way that thing sucks itself back into the detent. So let's check out a little bit of Polish custom knives. I do have them linked down in the description for you guys. They got so much. We're just gonna go right to folding, but we'll check out some hunting stuff. So they have some new stuff in, as you guys can see. I don't know if you guys checked their site out, but the same model that I have right here with the same exact finish they have in blue. It's like a bluish gray. So this is the exact same finish. I did a full video on this if you didn't see it. Here's a brown one. So I think this is almost the same color. Maybe not. It's gray. So, okay. It's still really cool. Oh, right here. This one is about the same color as the one I have, except for it doesn't have the gold clip. So if you look, mine's got a gold clip. That one's more of a brownish clip. It still looks dope. And this one's in Magna Cut 62 HRC. And yes, their pivot is T20. That's badass, right? To me, I think I personally, if I had the choice, all pivots would never be smaller than T10. Most hardware would be T10 if it was all up to me. Let's check out what, oh shit. Check out what else they have. So tons of variety, tons of stuff, but this second page though, look at this guy. This guy right here, man. Oh my goodness, is that gorgeous? Isn't that beautiful? I love when, okay, so I'm not like a super Timascus fan. I like Timascus. Timascus was cool. I like having it, because I like variety of different things. But this kind of Timascus or Mokatai, whatever it is, Mokamai, I don't know. When it has the huge separations where it's not super tight, where it's like, where there's like thickness between the layers. Oh my goodness, I love that. Especially with the gray, blues, and oranges. Oh, it gets to me. This is something special right there. So the tight grain would be something like this. So I think the other one's way better than something like this. I think the grain structure is just too tight. Plus, they have the micro milling on this one that also kind of distorts it a little bit. They should have just did it plain. This one have the micro milling? Yeah, this one has the micro milling, but it's just so thick it doesn't matter. This one, the Sting, also has a tight grained one. Beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous. But I like the thicker patterns a little bit more. That's just me, to each their own, right? But you can see, man, they got a long list of all different kinds of Herman knives, from the Ishtars, the Stings, and then plenty of other stuff too. I showed this in that one video. Look at this shit. The Sting looks like it was woven. Look at that. That's crazy. Isn't that crazy? Think about the machining to do this, the little details to go all the way through and through in these areas, partial through in this area. It's so good. It's crazy how good that is. And it actually looks super consistent too. I think that is so beautiful. All right, let's check out some of their tactical knives. So they do have tactical knives, as you guys can see. for pretty decent prices too. These are all made in Poland, by the way. This is kind of cool looking. Huh. I didn't see that one. That must be new. Let's see what else I got. There's this one knife I was looking for in particular. Oh, this one. I think this thing looks dope. I personally love the way this thing looks. It just looks like a knife that I can chop. One, I love the sharpening tool and plunge grind, of course, but it just looks like something that can poke, chop, slice, stab, and the grip looks super duper comfortable. I might have to grab that. I might have to get that one. I think I love that. Yes, I do. I do. I love that. I just might have to get that one. They have tons of hunting knives, every kind of knife. Like we're not even in the hunting section. Oh yeah, I was checking this guy out too. The thing is though, is I thought it was bigger. It's only the blade is 7.24 inches. I thought it was like a 12-inch blade. It's only 7.2. So, you know, about the length of my hand or something like that. So I thought it was a lot bigger. It's not as big as I thought. Let's check out some hunting knives. No one get off of this page. Tons of hunting stuff. So back in the day, when I was a kid or when I was younger, me and my dad, I've kind of told you guys a story. You know, my dad collected knives. My dad's the one who got me into collecting knives when I was a kid. So he was a hunter among a lot of other things, and he would have badass knives. And they were mostly all hunting knives and fixed blades. And a lot of them were like this kind of knife. Um, you know, just like the look of it, the shape of it. We had tons of them of all different kinds. Like I'm not saying they were all just like this, but I'm just saying like this type of style. And in my eyes, because I was so young, that was like the pinnacle of knives. Like that was the badass knives. I didn't, you know, even understand, you know, that like the folding knife industry gets even more high end than the fixed blade industry. But I was just young, you know. But these are beautiful, beautiful, beautiful pieces. All right. But yeah, check them out if you guys want to. They're always linked down in the description. That is Polish Custom Knives. It does support the channel if you use any of the links down in the description. And by the way, if you guys are ever just going to make a knife purchase anyways, like if you guys already know, like, hey, I'm going to buy a Cryptillion or I'm going to buy a whatever, use my links because I have all the knife dealers down there that you need to be able to get whatever you want. KIZERs, Kershaw's, any type of knife you want. Everything's linked down there. You can always get whatever knife model you want for the most part. So definitely do that, and it definitely helps the channel out and helps me out, and I do greatly appreciate it. So but I just feel like I have to remind you because I don't think so many people, you know, they'll tell me they made and it's not a big deal. Like, listen, I'm not like talking shit at all, but it's just funny. Sometimes people will be like, hey, I just went and got this. Like, well, did you use my link? But you know, I'm half joking, but also half not. But anyways, another way you can support, just so you guys know, if you guys don't know, is hitting the damn like button. So that is the number one way you can support. Hit the damn like button. What was the next thing? Oh, the knife design. So you guys know my felon is coming very soon. Very soon. So pre-orders are going to open up October 1st, and they will be done and shipped at the beginning of November. So like supposedly they'll be done like November 1st, but we're saying about November 15th just to give some room. So very awesome. You can get it with or without the karambit ring. And if you want without the karambit ring, you can always just get the G10 G10 scale, which will give you the karambit ring. So you can change it, take it off, or have it on. Really cool, right? So there is some subtle changes, but yeah, it's you guys can see what it is. It's a self-defense knife. It's yes, you can use it as an EDC knife. It's going to be an 80 CRV2 steel. Why that steel? Well, that's the steel that they are known for using, and it is one of the most well-known steels for tactical knives. So one, because of its since it's appropriate for a tactical knife, that's one reason. And another reason, which is the most important reason, is that that's what they're good with. That's what they're used to. That's what they do. They're very comfortable with it. They've been doing it for a while. I've tried some of their shit and they do a good job with it. So, you know, I want them to do it. I would hate to request, like, say, a steel and there be problems with the heat treatment rather than getting a steel that they're comfortable with and having a great heat treatment. So in order to make sure we got a phenomenal heat treatment, we just went with 80 CRV2. It's easy to heat treat, very easy to heat treat. It's a little bit more affordable, and they do it very well. So, but it is a self-defense knife that can obviously be executed in a just a regular EDC situation if you wanted to. Now I would recommend that if you don't know how to sharpen, don't do that. Now, I guess you know what? I'm not going to say that. You know why? Because even if this fucker's dull, it will still do damage. So, yeah, granted, use it as an EDC knife because you can. Because even if it's dull, maybe when I get the final production, maybe I'll show that. I did cut some stuff with those, and those don't have an edge at all. It's like literally blunt. See that? It's blunt, squared off. And this thing will still do damage just like that. So, but yes, October 1st, pre-orders are opening up on TKELL's site. TKELL's linked down in the description as well. It is 100% USA made. It'll be at $250. So if you guys want to support, or if you guys just want to get one, definitely check it out October 1st, and you will get it within 30 days, about 30 days. So that's fast. That's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it, man. They're kicking ass over there. TKELL is not only a great dude, him and his wife, but they're doing great work over there, man. They're growing fast. They're kicking ass. They're making a lot of knives for like military and Navy SEALs and things like that. And I appreciate that. I think that's awesome. I'm looking for a Ritter Hogue RSK. The only place I can find them is on eBay for $300. What would you say is a reasonable price for these? Not $300. You should be able to get them at what the fuck is the place that sells them? You can get them. KnifeWorks. Go to KnifeWorks. Let's see. Oh, they're out of stock. Oh, okay. I see it. I see the problem. They're out of stock. I'm sorry, bud. I guess they're out of stock. I guess you're fucked. Yeah, you're screwed. I'm sorry. I wouldn't pay that much for it, to be honest. It's up to you though, if you want to. It's a great knife, but you know, that's like $50 more than you should pay. Maybe, 40, $50 more. What's the point? Says, what do you think about 10 CR 15 MOV for kitchen knives? Great. Mine are fishbone Damascus in that steel. It's similar to VG10. Yes, it is. 10 CR is very similar to AUS 10 and VG10. They are basically the same. And yeah, it's good steel, especially for the kitchen. I would say that is what it was designed for, was for like because I believe the first one was AUS 10 from Japan. I'm not 100% about that, but and it was specifically made for like kitchen knives, chef knives, things like that. It's a great steel. It's a steel that's going to hold a great edge, especially in the kitchen. If you're only cutting kitchen stuff and you're not chopping on ceramic and you're cutting on a wooden cutting board or a plastic cutting board, it'll hold an edge for a long time. It's very easy to sharpen. It takes a great edge. Great steel. I've only had one bad experience with 10 CR or AUS 10. And I was talking about that steel earlier, but I do think it was rushed and everything. But for the most part, it's usually pretty good. Can you explain what makes an edge hair whittling sharp? Is it just how fine the edge is, or is it more to it? So it's about how thin the apex is. So when you are sharpening, I need another pen. Let me get a marker. So you have three different geometries here, right? If you look at the apex of all three, they're all different. Let me get this off of here. This one is too thick to whittle hair because the apex is thicker than the hair's fiber. Damn it, I gotta get a new chair, guys. So hairs have they have fibers or whatever, right? So your apex has to be as thin as that in order to get behind it and cut into it. So at this thickness is too thick. It'll just slide over it because it's not thin enough. This one, again, too thick. It'll just slide over it. But right here, it's thin enough to where it can get behind it. Now, you can actually probably whittle hair with the middle one, but this one is going to like do that crazy good stuff. So I say usually about 15 degrees in most cases. It depends on the geometry, yes, of course, but 15 degrees per side in a lot of cases will whittle a hair. 17 in a lot of cases will too, but 15 almost always does, as long as you get it fine enough. And what you're trying to do is stretch out that apex, and what that's going to be determined upon is your ability to keep and hold that angle. If you have a fixed angled system, you shouldn't have a problem. If you're doing a freehand, then it's going to be your ability to hold that angle. Now, let's say you're using a fixed angled system. The pressure is going to matter. Your grit progression will matter, how you go through the grits, because once you get to, say, 3,000 or 5,000 grit, whatever, and usually you want to be over 1,200 grit for hair whittling. I've hair whittled at 600 grit. So I'm not saying it's impossible. If you have a low enough angle, you can do it, with probably a 400 grit if it's super low angle. But you get a little bit better results if it's finer, especially with a low angle. If it has both, that's where you're really increasing your chances of hair whittling if it has a low angle and a fine edge. But as you're moving through the grit, if you jump through your first 3 stones and then you jump to 1,000 and then 2,000 and 5,000, your 300 grit scratches are going to be too deep into the edge, so that when you get to the 5,000, now it's not fine enough. So you want to make sure you go through your grit progression correctly. Yeah. I need that bad. I already bought a chair and broke it. So I bought one chair. You guys remember my old chair, my old badass chair? Yeah, that fucker. That's what I use the sharpening desk, and it's worse than this thing. Worse than this thing. I just need to get a new chair altogether, man. This fucker's hurting my back. Can you explain what lock rock is? Yes. I had someone ask me recently, and I had no idea what it was. Yeah. So lock rock. So there's 2 different things. And you have to know, and a lot of times people call one the other. Okay. So this gets confused, and people do use the words interchangeably, but there's lock rock, and then there's lock slip, and then there's play. Okay. So lock rock is, say, if I start putting pressure on the spine of this, so like say if I'm checking the lock up and down this way. So I'm not going side to side. I'm going up and down with the blade. And I'm not putting pressure on the lock bar, but I'm doing this. If that lock bar starts flexing like that as I'm putting pressure, that's lock rock. It's rocking. Now, if it just has a rattle, like say if there's space in between the stop pin and the lock bar, and you can actually feel the blade moving a little bit back and forth, like not the lock bar moving, literally the blade, that's blade rock, right? Because the blade is rocking. It's literally, there's space in between the stop pin and the lock face, and it's moving like this. And then lock slip is just where you do the same thing as the as lock rock, but it slips all the way out and it fails. That's lock slip. This is just slipping out. Yes, 15 degrees is going to probably give you the best chances for, depends on the knife, right? Because there's going to be some knives you don't want to put 15-degree edge bevel on. But for most knives, 15 degrees, like let's say Spyderco's. If you have a Spyderco, 15 degrees is usually the best edge. That's what I put on all mine, 15 degrees per side. But they're 20 thousandths behind the edge. 20 thousandths behind the edge has enough stability to hold and maintain a good amount of toughness at 15 degrees per side. Now, if it was 10 thousandths behind the edge, I would never recommend 15 degrees per side, unless it's a chef knife or something, because it'll be entirely way too brittle. So, depending on the thickness behind the edge will determine, because at that point it's already so thin, you don't have to go with that low of an angle to get incredible, thinness behind the apex. Mr. Samurai, 1,000, 6,000, and 50 years of experience. What? Murray Cutler, Mr. Samurai, 1,000, 6,000, and 50 years of experience. I have no idea what that means, but anytime I've ever seen anybody start sharpening on 1,000 grit, I think how ridiculous. Now, if you have 1,000 grit brand new diamond plate and the knife's already sharp, and you're not doing anything but just edge maintenance, then yeah, you could do that. But if you're doing reprofiling of any sort, you got to start at 300 or lower. Otherwise, you're just going to be there longer. Like, you can sit there with 1,000 grit, but you're going to sit there for a fucking hour when you could just go onto a 300 and spend 10 minutes. So it's just work smarter, not harder. Does Demco, or you mean Cold Steel? Cold Steel does. Yeah, Cold Steel does, but you said Demco. I don't know. Do they have XHP? You're talking about on the 8020s, 20.5s? I didn't even know they were using XHP. Are they? Huh. All right, let's see what we have here. I already showed you guys that. We did talk about that. So what time is it? Oh, it's story time. Story time. This is a fast one. It's not a long story. And then we'll go to fragrance of the day. But story time. So this is a story about a time me and my cousins got rolled. So got pulled over. So what happened was I had my first car. So I was like 17. I was just about to get my license, but I didn't have it quite yet, but about to get it, right? So I had this car. It was a Dodge Intrepid. And my cousin Eric, sorry, I shouldn't be saying names. My one cousin, I had all my cousins with me. Well, not all, but the majority of my cousins that were around my age group were with me. So we were all packed in this car. And we're driving around, ripping around, and we're coming up to a light. And the light changes. And instead of just stopping, my cousin hits it. We go through the light. Cops roll us. Cops start rolling us, right? They pull us over. Not one of us has an ID. Not one of us. Now, here's the thing, is that back in the day, my dad, uncles used to pretend to be each other, because back in the day, they didn't have IDs and driver's license like we do now. So they would lie to the cops all the time. And sometimes the one that they would lie, like one time I heard that one of them had a warrant and then lied and said they were that person. And then they got arrested for a warrant. But the point is, though, is that they were known for bullshitting on their names and saying that they were the other one, right? Just to fuck with each other. So in the system on the cops thing, it says basically don't trust them, for that shit. So the cop was pissed. He was so pissed because he was like, none of you have an ID. He was so mad. So he cuffs my cousin up, puts him in the back of the car, and my uncle always has the police scanner on. He's always listening just in case if one of us boys gets popped off, he can come to the rescue, right? So he's always listening, right? Every time something happens, he's listening. So he heard, what happened and heard the name, Neve, and jumped in the ride and came over there. So he pulls up. Grant, my cousin's in the back of the squad car. The cop is in his squad car, and we're sitting in the car that we got pulled over in, which is my car, right? And I didn't even have my license yet, so I haven't even driven it yet. Actually, I did. I wound up getting into a bunch of trouble, but my uncle shows up, and instead of like just waiting for the cop to get done, he walks right up to the car, right, opens up the door and starts talking to us. Now, I'm guessing and just guessing that he did that just in case if we did have something, we could just give it to him or something. I don't know. But the point is, though, is that that's what it looked like to the cop. So the cop starts screaming on the thing, on the megaphone or whatever, "Sir, get away from the car for me and your safety," or some shit like that. And my uncle's like, "What?" So he backed off, and the cop was so pissed because we got 4 Neeves here. None of them have IDs. He doesn't believe that we're saying the right names, obviously. Now we have another one that shows up that's talking shit and opening doors up. And nothing wound up coming from it. It was all innocent. We wound up getting let go. And yeah, what was it, like a couple weeks later, I before I got my license, was drag racing in the car and wound up getting into a wreck, and a whole bunch of shit happened from that. I've told that story. Maybe I'll tell that story again one day. It led to intimidating a witness. But anyways, yeah, it was just hilarious. It's still funny to me, like thinking about, my uncle just walking up, opening that damn door, because to the cop, you know, that's a huge thing. Like, that's a huge no-no to him. And so he's freaking out. And the thing is that how does he know that he's not over there making sure, grabbing stuff and making sure, we don't get caught with anything or whatever. He doesn't. Um, but yeah. Luckily nothing happened to my cousin. He let him go and we got the hell out of there and everything was fine. James K with the 2 bones. So many knees. There's a lot of us for sure. For yours and my safety means they're asking, not telling. That's true. It's true. It's good to know your rights, man. Know your damn rights, because it can save you. It will definitely save you. I've dealt with cops so much now. I know anytime they're talking to you, basically, they're trying to get you for something. I never trust them because they'll literally talk to you like they're your best friend just to get you to talk and say something stupid, just to put you in cuffs and arrest you or to arrest somebody else. So the best thing for you to do is keep your fucking mouth shut every time, always, never, ever, ever talk to them under any circumstances. They get mad at me how little I'll talk to them. I remember one time I was in jail and I was hoping I was going to get out. I had a phone, but it died. My phone died. The cop wanted to go through my phone, and I knew he wouldn't be able to get into it without the code, right? So he asks me if he can go through it. And I'm like, you have to charge it because I needed it charged because when I leave, I'm going to have a dead phone. I need that phone. Right. So I told him, I said, yeah, you can. I said, but you got to charge it though. And he was like, yeah, I can charge it. No problem. So he charges it. He comes back to me like with a piece of paper, like for me to sign to say that he can go through my phone. And when he came up to me, he has the paper and it has the phone. He's like, "Can you unlock it?" I was like, "Oh man, I don't even know the code." He knew I was bullshitting because I didn't sign the paper. But no, I wanted getting a charged phone off of it, so I wanted working out for me. Um, it was just something stupid, but yeah, man, I've been in the interrogation room so many times where they're literally trying to pin stuff on me I didn't do, literally literally making it sound like I did something I didn't do, and like that they have all this evidence, and literally I've even had them get me to try to touch things to get my fingerprints on them. So like I don't trust anything from those fuckers. Not saying there's not good ones. There's obviously a lot of great cops, but there's also I would say even a majority are not good. Um arguably, I'm sure, there's so many great ones, but damn it, there's just so many bad ones, man. And I'm not obviously they have a crazy job, so like I understand to some extent, right? It takes a wolf to catch a wolf. I get it. I understand. But I just can't stand them violating people's rights, especially innocent people, right? I know they don't know who's innocent and who's not. I know, but there's sometimes like I watch videos of people that it's like, you know what's going on. You can see clear as day, and they just have an ego, and then they bully the person, and they violate every right that person has that they swore to uphold and protect. And I can't stand that, man. It's like, why even become a cop? Like, I just feel like, if I wanted to become a cop, my goal would be to serve and protect the people and protect their constitution. Like, that would be my because that's what I'm signing an oath for, right? To protect their constitutional rights, not to violate them. It's so weird to me. Um, okay, so I'd say a majority are not good. I know of a few good ones. I would say I'd say that too. And it's sad because it just the good ones get overshadowed by the bad ones. And for anybody who doesn't think that, then just watch some videos, get your algorithm filled with that shit. Every other video of a cop you see, and I know they're not going to show you the good ones, but there's just entirely way too many bad ones where you see the cops like just doing just stupid shit to people. And it's like, what the fuck? Like, it makes it to where, it's like, okay, let's say there is more good ones, right? But you don't see them. Why are there so many bad ones? And I know there's probably a couple cops in here, so I'm not talking shit to you guys. Obviously, we need police, right? We need police. So I'm not denying that. I love that we have police. I'm very thankful that we have police. And anybody who becomes a police officer, I'm thankful that you're willing to do that job. I couldn't do it. But yeah, man, you guys gotta hold each other accountable, right? All right, so game time. Once again, I'm telling you guys, I have it linked down in the description. I promise you guys will love this shit. This is a very masculine citrus. It's let me see if I can pull up a thing. I'll have it, a note breakdown. No, I don't see a note breakdown for it, but I can do this. I got an idea. I can do Creed Aventus. So the notes in this you're gonna see fruit and sweet, but it's not that. It's not fruit and sweet. It is citrusy and fresh, but it is a super, super masculine fragrance. This is probably Well, this brand right here has been the most high quality fragrances I've tried for the price. They're like, this is better than what you see right there. That Creed Aventus, it's basically a clone of the Creed Aventus. That's a $400 fragrance right there. This is $42. Big difference, right? But this, in my opinion, smells even better. They smell very, very similar, but this is even better. And this is a very high quality scent. Men absolutely just look up any review on Creed Aventus and see what happens. Like, people freaking love it. Well, men freaking love it. It is a fantastic, super masculine, super fresh, all year round fragrance. Um, you definitely wear it all year round. It has basically, if I was gonna break it down the exact scent, let's see if they actually give us it. So the top notes are pineapple, bergamot, black currant, and apple. You totally get that, but not yeah, you with it mixed like that, it smells like a strong citrus bomb. But when you really slow down and smell it, you can smell all of that. The middle notes are birch, patchouli, uh, moroccan, Moroccan, jasmine, and rose. And then the base notes are musk, oak moss, ambergris, and vanilla. I don't smell vanilla, but definitely some oak moss, patchouli, and birch. It's definitely a woody fragrance. Um, Super, super good. Can't recommend it enough. I swear, guys. I promise whoever gets this will absolutely love it. Like Kara she freaking loves this stuff. Not to put it on, but when I wear it. Now I have one more to show you guys. Now this one's more of a summertime fragrance, but I bet you could pull it off, especially like in the fall. This stuff's banger. But every fragrance from this company is a banger. And this is from Guerlain. You can see the name, Platine Privé, L'Homme Ideal Platine Privé from Guerlain. This is something special, man. It's another one, man. Both of these fragrances, it is an absolute banger. I haven't seen any negative review on it whatsoever. Like, not even a little bit. Like, people freaking love it. Let me spell this. If I can find it. So here's the note breakdown really quick. This one you'll have to go search for yourself if you do want to get it. I can't find a link for it. But here it is: citrus, almond, fresh, spicy, aromatic, nutty, and fruity. That's actually pretty accurate. It is a man's fragrance though, so don't think that fruitiness is like a feminine fruity. It is not. When fruity notes are in male fragrances, in some cases they're feminine, in some cases they're sweet, but in a lot of cases they're not. In a lot of cases it's literally like the smell of the plant of the fruit. So the top notes are grapefruit, bergamot, for sure. You definitely smell that right off the top. Then you have green, almond, and neroli, vetiver, and musk. Very simple breakdown, but for a very special fragrance. This stuff is phenomenal. Super citrusy, a hint of sweetness in there. It's a subtle hint. You definitely have that bergamot. You know, it's just like, it's like a citrus bomb, and then you start getting the musk and the other notes coming in, but it's fire. But I would recommend this the most to every man, because I don't think there's a man that wouldn't like this. I really don't. I don't think there's a wife that wouldn't like this. It's not going to smell like your every cologne you've smelled. It's like I said, super masculine, super woody. It does have some citrus in there, some woodiness, and it smells like a man. It smells like a fucking man. And another thing, really quick, and then we'll get off of this. It smells like any man. And what I mean is, like, it's like when you can picture like what, and I'm not telling you to picture what a man smells like, but like the guy who's wearing the Harley with the leather coat and, like the biker type, like you could see somebody like him smelling like this, or you could see somebody jumping out of a Ferrari with a suit and tie smelling like this. You could see just about like anybody, could wear this, and you can picture it because it is that type of fragrance. So that's why I'm very confident that doesn't matter what you do, what type of business you're in, what type of man you are, you'll probably really, really like it. It's not sweet. It is not feminine. It is a masculine fragrance, and it is awesome. It almost has a little bit of a pininess to it. All right. So I'm usually one to defend cops, but when it's clearly intentional abuse of power, I feel like they are betraying their community and the people of their community. I find it unacceptable. I agree. And that's basically what I'm saying. And if I've had it just happen to me so many times, and I've seen it so many times. And granted, a lot of times I was the bad guy. Like, I admit that. So, like being the bad guy, I get it. But there were a lot of times I wasn't, and it was bad. So, and there were times I was a bad guy, but what they did was completely unacceptable. Like complete abuse of power. And if the cops start becoming the criminals, then what's the difference between us? All right, the only difference is you break the law to bust me, or to rob me or whatever. Hey Jared, how are you able to do all those? What? How are you able? How are you able to do all those? The openings on the front flippers with your index finger. I guess I won't have a strong enough finger. Yeah, it just takes practice. Let me show you. So I have a front flipper here. I guess this one. So when I do this one, I use just the side of my finger, just like that. And I just put it there. So I'm pinching between this finger and this finger. It's just pinching right now, right? So then what I start lifting this one up like that. So I'm pinching them together, just pinching them, and then I snap that one up. But when you get it in the right position, it goes fast. But you want to get it right on the corner, and that works good. And then for the reach over, you have to hold two fingers like this. Hold these fuckers firm. because the problem is people don't have this strength. So squeeze this and then use this finger to reach over the top and pow. That takes some getting used to, and you might even have to pinch it with your pinky right here like that. That sometimes helps. And then the other way is just, just like that. You'll get it. It just takes time. Just like even when I first reverse flicked, I couldn't reverse flick. Granted, I was trying on a knife with thumb studs, but I was determined. But eventually I got it. Hey, Neves, could you talk about ZT disappearing like we talked about? Yeah, we did actually. We did a whole segment on it. I brought it up earlier. Yeah, we talked all about it. You can definitely rewind. But yeah, nobody really has an answer, of what's going on with them or why. We just know they haven't made any new designs. They've only had that fixed blade, and it seems like all they're doing is selling their old designs. And it makes me wonder: are they preparing to sell the company? Are they? Maybe they have something in the works. I don't know. Maybe they're just taking a break from losing money somehow. I don't know. I started thinking maybe they invested some money right before the pandemic and then it backfired on them and then they lost the money. I don't know. But one thing's for sure, that they're not doing anything right now aside from their old shit. I like wearing that fragrance to LGBTQ gatherings to send them over the edge on all angles with my toxic masculinity. Good man. Had cop drag me 50 yards, had another buy me a hamburger as a teen. Oh, it's funny. ZT is the largest seller of knives in general. They are a mass manufacturer. They think, yeah, because they have Kai, so that's we forget that Kershaw did come out with some new designs, so they are Kershaw and zero tolerance. So I should have said that. I'm mainly just talking about zero tolerance, their premium brand. Maybe it's just a business move, and they're like, it's not the best move to make premium knives right now. We should just make budget knives. But anyways, they think their shit don't stink and can't do anything wrong. Not sure what happened in the last 4 years except politics. It probably is. Like anything with patchouli, I relate the scent to me going into anaphylactic shock. Well, a lot of things with patchouli don't smell like patchouli. Patchouli is just a note, and when it's at the bottom, you're not going to smell it because it's mixed. It's kind of like say if I took a drip of coffee, just one drop, and gave you an entire glass of soda of Coca-Cola, I put one drip of coffee in there, you're not going to be able to smell that coffee, right? And the Coke might not smell exactly the same, but it's not going to smell like coffee. So that's the way some of the notes are. There some of them are very little, some of them are more. So it just depends on the fragrance, but a lot of the notes, you're not going to be able to smell. The top notes are the ones you smell right off the bat. The middle notes are the ones you smell after when it starts drying down. The bottom notes you almost never smell unless if it's a super potent bottom note, like a tobacco, a leather, woody, things like that. Then they come through in the middle. So like as it dries down, then you start smelling the whole blend, but then it's like all the notes together. But right off the bat, you never want to, with most, not all fragrances, but most, you don't want to judge a fragrance off of the first spray. You spray it and smell it because that's literally just the top notes you're smelling. That's not what it's going to smell like. You got to give it 10 minutes. That's what it's going to smell like after 5 or 10 minutes because it settles in and then all the notes start coming out. I smell like tobacco all the time. Well, tobacco smoke is way different than a tobacco note. Tobacco note smells more like the tobacco leaf in the plant, like kind of like smelling a cigar, while smelling tobacco smoke smells like, tobacco smoke. So is ZT closing down? I haven't heard. No, I don't know. Well, I mean, you can see they're keeping up with Kershaw. They're just not keeping up with zero tolerance. I'm wondering if they're even making new models or if they're just selling what they have in stock. because I did notice that they didn't replace any models at Blade HQ or GP Knives or Smoky Mountain Knives of the 308. So, looking to purchase a new knife, looking at the Giant Mouse Tribeca EXO-M or the AM8 Knives Flicks 2 front flipper. One caveat, I already have the original EXO. Okay, so the other EXO is a locking, so it's way different. It's smaller and it's locking. And just so you guys know, I'm not sure who knows this or if anybody's supposed to know this, but there might be a mini version coming very, very soon, like a small version of the EXO. Just saying. But the M is a medium-sized knife and it locks and has a clip. So there's a lot of differences. It's not like the big one. Next, instead of getting the was it the Flicks? Hold on, let me just make sure really quick. Yes, the Flicks too. Yes, that's the one you want to get. So the Giant Mouse Tribeca. Yeah, the Tribeca is good if you get the titanium one. They're all really good, man. Those are great, man. That's tough. That's a tough one. They're all really good. Good luck. Good luck on that one. Um, can you smell me now? Can you smell me now? I smell myself. It smells of fire in here. I got both hands too because I got the Privé and the Game Time. They're both completely different, but you know, they're not like they're completely different, but they're also not like bashing each other. They complement each other actually. This one's almost like a sweet version of this, slightly. Like almost like a lemon meringue almost. Not really, but like almost. You see the Wii Orpheus coming out soon? No, but I see that other Wii knife coming soon that I've been freaking out about. I can't wait for it to come out. Ontario just closed. Really too bad. They've been around forever. Damn. Yeah. Yeah. I think just maybe some companies see something coming that I think we all kind of see. I don't know what's going to happen in the future. Like I don't know what's going to happen in the community with the channel, with the knife companies, whether things are going to go good or if we are going to wind up in a damn dumpster fire. I don't know. Our economy is obviously doing like shit. So I'm not trying to play politics or anything, but it's just fucking common sense right now. Obviously, we can see everything's inflated. The prices are through the roof on everything. That usually doesn't mean anything good. Hopefully we can get some tax cuts next year. uh that would be awesome. So hopefully we wind up getting some lower taxes and things even out a little bit. But yeah, we'll see. But I think some people are just planning for the worst, and it's not a bad idea. Do you have bad blood with Medford or just don't like the knives? Me? I like Medford. I always talk good about him. What do you mean? I like Medford. I was talking about him earlier. I was talking really good about him. I was talking about the knife I sharpened last night. I don't never talk bad about him. I just tell the truth. But I don't know anything negative I've said about him. Maybe his bad plunge grinds. Unless you follow statistics, how about pay for what you buy? What? Unless you follow statistics, how about pay for what you buy? I don't know what that means. Pay for what you buy. What the fuck does that mean? What that ain't changing anytime soon, and war with China is on the way. I don't know about that. I mean, I hope not. But I don't think so. I don't think that's gonna happen. I think the threat and the thought of it will, and that's about it. I think they want to keep us worried about that. I think that that's in their best interest to always make us fearful of war and always they want to be in war always, but they want to be in wars that they can win and wars that they can control. So they're not going to try to put us into a war if they can't, unless if they start the war. The other, I don't know. Fuck this shit. I'm not talking about this. Guys, thank you guys for all the love and support. Don't forget to hit the like button. If you guys are gonna buy knives or anything, use my links. I greatly appreciate it. I really do. And another thing is that when you're watching the videos, please hit the like button. I love that you guys leave me comments. I don't always see them all. I'm just being honest. I obviously don't. I try to get through a lot of them. Usually if I ask you to leave a comment in a video, I'll usually make sure I do, because I can't stand when a content creator asks the community or asks whatever, their people are to leave a comment, and then I look down in their comments and they didn't even like one of them, didn't leave a comment to one of them. Like, why'd you even ask them to leave a fucking comment if you're not even gonna look at them? So that's always aggravated me. But sometimes it does take me a day or two to get to them, because I wait for them to come in and I start going through them, and sometimes I get to them right away, so it just depends on the video. But guys, thank you guys for all the love and support. Work hard, stay tough. Society's relying on you. Until next time, peace. Oh, Bang Gang live tomorrow. Don't forget, live Bang Gang tomorrow at 12:15 Central Time. So hopefully all the members will be there tomorrow. We'll have some fun. Peace.